Hi everyone, and welcome to the UK's only TV show dedicated to mental health and well-being, the Chrissy B Show, and I'm your host, Chrissy B. Now, meningitis almost killed my real-life story guest, Lydia Mungai, and doctors told her husband to take her home as there wasn't much else they could do. And as a couple, they even spoke about Lydia's death. But then it was actually her husband that met his death in a fatal road accident, while she actually got better. But how did she cope with so much upheaval in her life? And how did she come to be the senior advisor at World Vision UK? We'll be finding out very shortly. Also on today's show, we have Dr. Audrey Tang, who'll be giving a few tips on how someone can start to think positively again and not give up after a very tough time. And also we have two of our experts, Dr. Hicks and Soutter, who'll be answering your medical and nutritional questions respectively. And fitness coach Natalia Kotowska will be taking us through a very effective ab workout. And then we also go to Hannah Richards' kitchen, where she shows us how to make quick and easy chicken noodles. And our expert Sally Walford will be giving us some decluttering and organisational tips, this time for sheds and garages. So plenty to get through, so let's get started with our first guest, Lydia Mungai. Welcome to the show, Lydia.
Thank you.
It's lovely to have you on. You've been through quite a journey and you're here today to actually inspire our viewers who maybe are going through a really tough time. But first of all, can you tell us a bit about your upbringing?
Chrissy, I was born and brought up in Kenya, in a little village that is rural. I was born by a single mom, and she gave birth to me when she was a teenager. Okay. She was very young, and I was brought up in a very poor household, and I'm not sure who even paid my school fees to get me to high school. That's how poor we were.
Okay. Do you have any happy memories though? Was it happy memories even though you didn't have everything maybe that you wanted, or how would you view your upbringing?
Oh well, I had happy times. Because I mean I had a very good grandmother. My mom was always out, trying to get food for us in the city. But I had cousins who were always happy to play with me. Good. I was a dreamer. I always dreamed, and I would see an aircraft flying over our roof, and I would say one day I would fly to other countries. I had no idea which countries those were. But those were some high moments for me.
So you started dreaming from a very, very young age. That's really good. But tell us, Lydia, you did go through a really difficult time with your health. Can you tell us about what happened?
In 2008, I had meningitis, and it was fatal. I don't even know how I got to the hospital. All that I remember is I found myself in Nairobi Hospital in Kenya, and I had meningitis, and it was really bad. I was in hospital for a whole month. Wow. I was on drugs. My brain had collapsed. I was blind, and meningitis affect the neck and affects the spinal cord. And I was down for almost a month. By the time I was wheeled out of hospital, the doctor said there was no hope for me. It was actually because my insurance had depleted, and the doctor told my husband, there's no hope for her.
So they basically sent you home to die?
They sent me home to go and die. Wow. And at that time, I couldn't see, I couldn't reason. I was just there. I was semi-cabbage.
Wow. It's amazing that obviously you're going to tell us what happened because you are here today, obviously. But when you actually got home, then you actually had a conversation with your husband, didn't you, about the future and like when you're not around anymore and stuff. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, when I got home, I remember, I don't know for how long I was at home. I can't really remember. But I remember one day, and I could reason all over again. And I called my house help at that time to call my husband. And my husband came back home because he was working at that time. And I told him, you know what, Gibson, I can see and I can talk. And it was a miracle. And he rushed me back to hospital. And the doctor said, this is a miracle. This is a miracle. And that was the starting point of my healing. My organization that time, I was still working for World Vision, was kind enough to give me some time to recover. So I continued to recover. But after a year again, in 2009, in November, I slipped back again. I had a headache that hit me from this side to this side. And I was back to hospital again. And for a whole week, I was in hospital. And when I came back home, I remember talking to my husband husband, and I told him, Gibson, you know, I don't think that I will live for long. And if I die, please look for another woman. I even recommended one of my girlfriends to marry him.
So you're trying to look after him after you.
Yeah, to look after my girls. You know, I am a mother, and I want my children to have a nice mom. I recommended one of my friends to, you know, get her, hook her up, and move on with your life. I didn't know that a week after, my husband would meet his death. Wow. He'd go away from home and never come back again.
What happened?
He was involved in a road accident. He was a passenger. He was going to work. He did not tell me where he was going because I was recovering. We were darlings. Yeah. We loved each other. We would go everywhere together. And he just told me, Lydia, I am going, but I will come back and take you out for dinner. It was a holiday it is usually a holiday in Kenya. 12th of December, and he went, and in the evening I got news that he was involved in a road accident, and I tried to tell the policeman, please take him to hospital because we have an insurance, and I will find you in hospital. But the police officer told me, you know, sorry, he died.
Oh my goodness. So you're still unwell, then you get that news. Yeah. So sorry for your loss. But so you got that news, and what did you go through? What did you think? What was going through your head at that time?
I was in denial. Yeah. I couldn't think. Chrissy, I remember during of course, when we were mourning, there were people around me to support me, my church, my colleagues, my friends, and my family. But I still remember to date the day we went to bury him. I remember standing at the graveside and watching the casket go down. And that was the lowest moment. I felt hopeless. I felt broken. I felt like the world had come to an end. I felt like somebody had plucked my heart out. I felt like I couldn't breathe. I had no hope at all. If you have ever seen any hopeless person, I was that hopeless person standing at the graveside. I looked at the casket of my husband, and I knew that my life was gone. And here I had two children who were looking up to me, and I didn't know what else to do. I didn't know what else to do. I felt like death was my friend. And anyway, I will die very soon and leave my children. And that was the lowest time. It was the beginning of a journey that I would not wish my worst enemy, the journey of a widow.
Can you tell us about them? Because obviously you reached such a low point, you didn't feel like there was any point in going on, but obviously you had to because of your kids and for yourself, actually. You needed to go on for you as well. But how did you get past that particular sort of time and, you know, all those emotions that you were going through, the grief? How did you get through that?
It took 2 years for me to really, move from the graveside, so to say. I remember I went to see my doctor, Dr. Mungai, in Nairobi, because I was still unwell. And I told him, Doctor, I am feeling unwell. And he looked at me and he told me, Lydia, you are depressed. And what is going to happen? You already have your brain, which is not very well healed because of meningitis. And what is you will die if you don't take care of yourself. And that hit me hard. And for a moment, I thought about my children. I thought about the communities that I was serving in Kenya at that time. I thought about myself, and I said, you know what? I am a widow, yes, but there is the me. There is this life. I have beautiful children. I didn't die. I didn't go out with him. Otherwise, if I had gone out with him, I would have died maybe with him. Meningitis did not incapacitate me. I would have been a cabbage. And if I was a cabbage, then my children would not have anybody to stay with. And that gave me the drive to live. And I made a decision, Chrissy, to live. and to thrive and to take care of myself. I opened up myself to counseling. I opened up myself to prayer. I pray about everything. I opened up myself to loving myself, loving my children, appreciating myself, living the now, and knowing that I've got the now. I do not want to live in the past. And I remember telling myself, I have got a pen. As the saying says, you've got a pen on your hand. It is up to you to write an inspiring story. It is up to you to either write an inspiring story or allow somebody else to write as your story.
But you wrote that story, didn't you?
I am going to write my own story, a story of inspiration to inspire others to live, to inspire others and tell them that you can live. You can go beyond grief. You can go beyond sickness. As long as you embrace help, as long as you embrace gratitude, as long as you embrace the now and living the now.
What amazing story, Lydia, I have to say. Now, obviously, because of all the things you've been through, you are even more of an inspiration, I would say. You were helping already with World Vision UK, you're working for them. Would you say that, having been what you've been through now, has it helped you maybe inspire people more through what you've been through? Has it helped you in any way with the charity work that you do?
Yes, it has. I would say two ways. My colleagues who have seen me grow. When my husband died, I was a junior officer in World Vision Kenya. Now I am a senior grants portfolio manager. I have grown so many landers up. So it inspires both my colleagues to see, that they can grow despite the challenges they go through. Amazing. But also when I go to communities, I speak from my heart. When I am fundraising, when I'm talking to the donors, when I'm talking to our funders, I talk from my heart. When I'm designing projects and supporting our country offices to design their projects, I do it from my heart.
You know what pain feels like. And
I know what poverty is because I was brought up in a poor family, and I know what pain is. I know what poverty and what lack looks like. That inspires me, and I think that is why I'm still there in World Vision. I have not retired yet.
That's amazing. Lydia, all the best with the future.
Thank you.
With finishing your book.
Yes.
Hopefully we publish very soon.
Yes.
And all the best for your future as well. Thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you. Thank you, Chrissy. It's so nice to be here.
Wonderful. Well, everyone, such a powerful story. And actually, we have on Dr. Audrey Tang after the break, and she's going to be commenting on Lydia's story and also be giving a few tips on how someone can actually start to think positively again and not give up after a very tough time. And also, we like finding activities to do outdoors, especially whilst the weather is good. We have our on and off days here in the UK. But it is great to combine the outdoors with something that challenges you. So we'll be seeing an activity that I did in Wales. Welcome back to today's Chrissy B show, everybody. And we just heard the really powerful and inspiring story of Lydia before the break. And now we have on psychologist Dr. Audrey Tang to actually give her comments about Lydia's story and also some tips on what you can do if you have been through a really difficult time and how to actually get through that. So welcome to the show, Audrey.
Thanks for having me, Chrissy.
So tell us, what do you think about Lydia?
I love Lydia. Now, I've had the pleasure of meeting Lydia beforehand, and I've actually run a training session with her. And one of the things that inspired me was not only how powerful her story is, but how strong a woman she is. And just to pick up some of the key points, she talks a lot about the people who got her through, and that's really important, because sometimes when we go through something very, very painful, there are some people who don't want to be there for us, and that's their choice. There are some people who would like to be but don't know how, and that's always when it's important, if you're one of those people, just to ask. Say to somebody, well, what would you like me to do? What will help you most that I can do right now? And there are some people who are okay living with that uncomfortable feeling, because of course you're going through a lot of pain and it is difficult to deal with, and especially if you're a loved one. You don't like seeing people you love hurt and unhappy, and you want to make it go away. But the thing is, people have to work through this as a process, and it's really important not to rush it, but just to be able to sit there and be with that person. So that's important. Her community and her faith also was very important. So people and a community to believe in that aren't necessarily those that you see every single day, but people that you know that you can turn to should you need to ask for help or ask for support. And as I say, her own personal strength herself. One thing, when I asked her in the training session, how would you advise other people as well? She said, actually, one thing she does every morning is she looks at herself in the mirror and says, Lydia, you're beautiful. And I think that's so powerful because she said that, but no one else might say it, so I'm going to say it. And it's good girl, you know. I will do that myself. And it's so important that we recognise our value and our strength, because that's exactly what she is modelling for not only her own teams in her workplace, but her children as well.
Wonderful. Now, thankfully, she actually did manage to pull through such difficult times. So what if there's a person watching now, Audrey, that's been through something really, really difficult and they're finding it so hard to think positively? What advice would you give?
The first thing is, ask for help. Be wary of who you do ask. There will be some people who maybe you feel you ought to ask, but maybe they're not the most helpful people around. So once you find someone who you can trust, who you know gets it, ask them. And the likelihood is someone isn't going to turn you away. So know that you can reach out. Another thing to do is, it may be affirmations, positive phrases that you can use for yourself may work. That might be something for a little bit further down the line when you're already in the process of healing. But the one thing about affirmations is, as human beings, we love coincidences. We look for those a lot and naturally. So it means that if we prime our mind to think of a certain thing, we're more likely to recognize it when it happens. Yeah. Therefore, why not prime our mind to think of something positive and look for something positive? So what I mean by an affirmation is not necessarily even standing up in front of the mirror saying, oh, you're a beautiful person, but actually saying, I'm ready to face the challenges the world gives me. Something like that will just make us think, yeah, I got through that today. I did this, I did those things. So affirmations can work. Be kind to yourself. It takes time to get through a lot of these things, and it's an ongoing process. It's also not a case of life is suddenly going to get better or it will be just the same as before. It never will be the same. But what we do have to learn to do is to manage the new normal and work from that point onwards.
It's just a different life now, isn't it? It's not like it's a bad life now. It's just different.
It's different, exactly. And so often, this is something I've learned a lot from positive psychology, we think getting back to feeling okay is the end of the journey. Actually, that's the start of it, because once you've got back to feeling okay, you can then begin to thrive and grow and really experience living life again, and that's important too. And so it's a case of not being hard on yourself. Don't think, oh, I must pull myself together, I must go out there. I know a lot of people, you have to be strong or feel you have to be strong for others. There will be some people in your support network who you will be able to say, look, do you mind looking after my children today? Or do you mind if I actually spend 10 minutes alone where I don't just sit in the toilet on my own, but actually can go out and take a breather, have some respite. And so it's probably about recognizing who the good people are around you as well. And don't be afraid of living in the uncomfortable situation where some people may disapprove of you as well, because if there are some people who've maybe been less than supportive, if you're not willing to have those people in your life anymore, yes, you're going to feel bad about it because it's a change, but your mental health is so much more important. And it's okay if you don't please everybody. It's okay to live with the discomfort that some people may not be happy, as long as you know yourself that you're doing it for yourself.
Definitely. Audrey, thank you so much for your wise words as usual. And we'll see you again next time.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, everybody, so as we have shown you recently, we do love finding activities to do outdoors, especially when the weather's good, when we do get good weather, that is. And it's actually great to combine the outdoors with something that challenges you. So here's something that you could consider that I did in Wales. Hi everyone, I'm ready for my next adventure and I'm here with John from TYF Adventures. Hi John.
Hi, how you doing?
Very well. What are we doing today then?
Today we're going rock climbing, well, abseiling and then rock climbing. So we're going to take a little stroll along the coast and then learn to trust one of these and unfortunately trust me as well. So Be a bit of that.
Are you trustworthy? That's the question.
Definitely am, without a doubt.
You've done this loads of times, so I'm in safe hands, right?
Yeah, about 15 years worth.
Oh,
so
right, okay, that's fine. All
little
right,
while.
so let's go and see how I do, and hopefully I'll pass this challenge. What do you reckon?
I reckon you will.
Yeah, all right then. Let's go.
I feel nice and secure then.
Likewise.
It feels tight though.
Yeah. So we're about to start the challenge, John. Almost ready.
That's
What's
right,
going to happen now?
Well, if you look behind you, you can see the rock face that we're going to abseil down, and then you're going to climb back up. Okay.
Okay.
So it's a beautiful spot here. This is called Porthofunon in St Bride's Bay. Really beautiful spot. We're going to be using an abseil device. This is called a figure of 8.
Right.
Okay, and it basically works on friction. These few bends the rope takes through the device adds plenty of friction. You'll be able to hold on with like literally fingertips, and that'll keep you moving slowly down the rope. Okay, so we're just going to tie you into the safety line. Right through there. This is a beautiful knot. It's called a re-threaded figure of 8. So what you can see I'm doing is I've got the one figure of 8 knot on there already, and I'm just re-threading it back on top of itself. So keep going all the way. Keep coming straight towards me. So the last little bit here, the footholds get a little bit smaller, but you've got these nice little sort of toe-sized ledges just there, that's it. But good handholds. Keep pulling in.
Oh, God.
That's it, you got it. Keep going nice and easy. Keep coming over towards me a little bit if you can. Fantastic, really good. That's it. Alright. Yeah, I'm standing on that nice big ledge just there. Hey! Well done, that was awesome.
Thank you.
Fantastic effort.
I did it! I wasn't actually expecting to climb back up. I didn't know that was part of the challenge.
Well, we thought we'd keep that as a little
you
surprise.
mentioned it kind of, I didn't really register.
Yeah, just thinking about getting down.
I'm actually really proud of myself for doing that.
Done really, really well. That was awesome. Really, really good. I mean, to do that without having had much practice is fantastic. Really, really good.
Oh, brilliant.
Nice
Thank you. That's okay. Woo! That was fun. Thank you very much to TYF Adventure. So after the break, we have on two of our experts, Dr. Rob Hicks and Lily Soutter, who'll be answering your medical and nutritional questions respectively. And also fitness coach Natalia Kotowska will be taking us through a very effective ab workout. Hi, I'm Chrissy B, host of the UK's only TV programme dedicated to mental health and well-being, The Chrissy B Show, which airs on MyTV Sky 191 every Monday, Wednesday and Friday. Follow our social media on YouTube, Instagram and Twitter at Chrissy B Show and our Facebook page, The Chrissy B Show. For more information, visit chrissybshow.tv. Welcome back to today's Chrissy B Show, everybody, and now it's time for our regular Doctor's Answers segment. Hello, Rob.
Hi, Chris. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm feeling very, very well, thank you.
So as some of the viewers know, this is Dr. Rob Hicks and he answers all of your questions, and the email address is doctor@chrissybshow.tv if you want to ask a question, and we keep everything anonymous, don't we, Rob?
We do, and we'll take any question at all.
Any question at all. Okay, so first question, Rob. How do we explain Down syndrome? What actually causes it? And why do all those affected by it look similar?
That's a very good question, Chris. Mm-hmm. Down syndrome, it's a genetic condition. So those with the condition actually have an extra chromosome number 21. Now, chromosomes, they carry the information that shows how our body develops, essentially. So our physical characteristics, for example, so they determine how tall we might be, what colour hair we might have, what colour eyes we might have, indeed our facial features. So normally people have 46 chromosomes. They're in pairs. You get 23 from your mum and 23 from your dad. But with Down syndrome, they have 47. They have an extra chromosome 21. And so that's what's responsible for the characteristics of Down syndrome. Now, Down syndrome isn't usually, in fact, more often than not, it's not inherited. It's just down to a random event, a random change in the genetics. That happens just out of the blue, quite honestly. And there's nothing that a woman has done before pregnancy or indeed during her pregnancy that influences whether she has a child with Down syndrome. The only major risk factor, or rather the major risk factor for Down syndrome, is increase in age. So if a woman's in age 20, she's got a 1 in 1,500 chance of having a child with Down syndrome. If she's age 40, she's got a 1 in 100 chance of having a child with Down syndrome. But that said, anybody of any age could have a child with Down syndrome. Now, most people with Down syndrome have some degree of learning disability, and the level varies amongst individuals. They also have more risk of certain health conditions, so heart problems, thyroid problems, infections like pneumonia, and problems with hearing and vision. However, for a lot of people with Down syndrome, they're able to attend mainstream schools, able to leave home, able to have relationships, able to work, and indeed able to live independently. So in summary, Down syndrome is a genetic condition where the outlook is actually very, very good.
And Rob, just this last bit was about looking similar. Why is that?
Well, that's down to the chromosomes, and that's how it influences how we all look. So our chromosomes influence why you've got brown hair, I have blonde hair, our eye colour, our height, etc. So that's why people with Down syndrome have characteristic features. So, for example, the back of the head might be flat. The eyes are narrower. There's a broader area across the bridge of the nose, for example. All down to this extra chromosome, the extra chromosome number 21.
Okay, cool. And next question. Can having an abortion affect my fertility later on in life?
Usually not, is the answer. The having an abortion also doesn't increase a woman's risk of miscarriage in future pregnancies, or of having an ectopic pregnancy, or having a pregnancy where the placenta is low-lying within the womb. For women who have several abortions, there's a slightly higher risk of them having a child who is born prematurely or of low birth weight. And if, as a consequence of the infection, of the abortion, a woman develops an infection in the womb, then there's a slightly greater risk of a lowered fertility in the future and difficulty falling pregnant. However, that said, and that's because of infection spreading from the womb to the fallopian tubes and to the ovaries, causing a condition called pelvic inflammatory disease, which we know, if a woman has, reduces her fertility and in fact increases her risk of having an ectopic pregnancy. However, infections very rarely get that far because they're treated with antibiotics, or indeed often here in the UK, a woman will be given antibiotics prior to having the abortion, actually to reduce the risk of an infection occurring. It is possible that during a surgical abortion, that if the line of the womb gets damaged, then that might make it a little bit harder for a woman to fall pregnant in the future. And if a woman has several terminations, several abortions, that might damage the cervix, the neck of the womb, leaving it weakened, so it's less able to support a future pregnancy. But to sum up, really, having an abortion is unlikely to reduce a woman's fertility and make it unlikely that she won't have a successful pregnancy in the future.
Thank you very much, Rob. That's it for today.
Thank you,
and
Chris.
We'll see you again next time.
Yes, you will.
Thank you. Okay, everybody, so now it's time to get moving again, and we have Natalia Kotowska with some ab exercises for us.
Your hands above your shoulders. Make sure you really try to maintain that 90-degree angle. You're gonna go to your long plank, Tuck your belly button in. Squeeze your bum, squeeze your legs, hamstring, glutes, quads. Every single little muscle that you can think of. Squeeze it, and you're gonna slowly touch your shoulders in this position. Try not to wobble with your hips. Avoid that wobble. Avoid opening your hips. Take your time, touch your shoulders one hand at a time, and keep switching. If that's too difficult, you can take your knees all the way down. Make sure that core is working with you. Tuck your belly button in all the time and touch. Breathe in and out all the time, and then take it all the way up. Squeeze your bum cheeks and keep going. That's your first one, team. Then we're gonna go on our elbows. Same position, keep that bum low. You're gonna go out with your knee as close to your elbow as possible. Come back in, out and in, out and in, and then you go as fast as you can. Make sure that bum is all the way low. And the third one, very last one, you're gonna go for star jumps on the floor. Out and in, out and in. Keep that bum low. Keep breathing all the time, team. So, in that case, we have 3 exercises, nice and easy, 20 seconds each long. Take 10 seconds break in between. Repeat the same 3 exercises 3 times. Trust me, you're gonna feel it. Thank you so much for watching today. Thank you for being with us, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you very much to Natalia. So now it's time to talk to another one of our experts. This time it's nutritionist Lily Soutter. Welcome to the show, Lily.
Hi.
And you are here to answer some questions for us today, aren't you, Lily,
Absolutely,
my love? Okay.
yeah.
If you guys have a question, by the way, you just need to email nutrition@chrissybshow.tv. So first question, Lily, are you ready? Mm-hmm. Okay, so I am a 35-year-old male and would like to get stronger and more toned. What's the best thing I can do nutritionally to support my exercise regime?
So I guess if we're looking at muscle mass and toning up, there's 2 areas that we need to focus on to build muscle. And the first one is obviously doing exercise, which is going to break down muscle tissue. And then we need to think about protein consumption. And on average, we tend to consume enough protein as a population, but if you are exercising, you may need to increase it ever so slightly, and think about the timings of protein consumption. So we metabolize and utilize protein best when we spread it throughout the day for muscle growth. So when we consume it in little and often amounts. So ensuring you are splitting your protein between your breakfast, your lunch, your dinner will help with the growth and maintenance of muscle mass.
Okay. And what about the kind of protein the person should eat, do you think?
So you have high quality protein in animal products. So that could include things like eggs and dairy, meat and fish. And then you also have plant-based sources of protein which aren't as high quality. So you may need to consume these in larger amounts or mix the sources. And you can find them in things like beans, lentils, chickpeas, soy, nuts and seeds.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, Lily, next question. Are there any foods I can eat that can help with hay fever symptoms? Interesting one.
There's not a huge amount you can do with hay fever, but you can look at certain specific nutrients in your overall diet to support immune function. So we know things like vitamin C and zinc are critical for the normal function of the immune system. Vitamin D helps with immune regulation, so we're not overreacting to specific allergens. And you get vitamin D from sunlight, but also from supplements. And another area which is quite interesting is looking at gut health. So 70% of your immune system lies within the gut.
Really?
And and it's thought that our gut bacteria influence with immune cells. So there's been a really interesting review study looking at taking different probiotics in relation to reducing hay fever symptoms, and it appeared overall they had a positive effect.
Oh, interesting.
The only issue is probiotics work in a very strain-specific manner. So each individual strain will do something slightly different. So we're not quite sure which is the best strain as of yet.
Okay.
So,
but there's research being done still.
Yeah, and so taking a probiotic could be a positive thing.
Wonderful. It's good to know. Wow.
Absolutely.
Very good. Lily, thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
And we'll see you again very soon.
See you soon.
Thank you. And everybody, if you'd like to have more information about Lily, do head over to our website, chrissybshow.tv. Scroll down and you can find her photo and details there. Well, after the break, we go to Hannah Rich's kitchen where she shows us how to make quick and easy chicken noodles, and Sally Walford will be giving us some decluttering and organisational tips, this time for sheds and garages. But just before the break, let's take a look at this.
Are you watching Moses and the 10 Commandments on MyTV? If not, don't miss out on this amazing story that will touch your heart and catch your attention. From Monday to Friday at 9 p.m. on MyTV. And don't forget to follow our Facebook and Instagram page.
Welcome back everybody to today's Chrissy B show, and now it's time for more nutrition, this time with Hannah Richards as we go to her kitchen for her to show us a quick and easy recipe.
Hello, my name's Hannah and today I'm going to be showing you how you can make something really quick and easy. It's a very simple chicken noodle dish. And today I'm going to be using a different type of noodle. They're buckwheat noodles, which are actually gluten-free. So I'm going to start off by chopping an onion. So just break them all up like that. And then we're going to fry them in a frying pan. I'm going to use some coconut oil because it's a really nice protective oil. Whilst the onions are getting a bit golden, I've just got some chicken breast here. You could use chicken thigh or chicken breast. And I'm just going to break these pieces that I've pre-chopped into even smaller bits. So just make sure that keep an eye on your onions because you definitely don't want them to burn. And as you can start to hear them sizzling away, slowly start to add your protein, your chicken, your white chicken, or your dark chicken. And this won't take very long either, so you'll want to really keep it moving around the pan, coating it with the oil and coating it around the onions as well at the same time. Great, so that's coming along. Over here I've got a pan of boiling water and I'm going to start cooking my noodles. So they come in these nice little bunch sizes, and you want to make sure your water is boiling hot before you put in your noodles. And slowly push them down so they don't burn around the top there. I'm going to put in 2 lots of noodles. So these days I find that a lot of people have an allergy or they have digestive issues when they use garlic, and so they might find themselves on a FODMAP diet. If you use this asafoetida, you probably won't have any problems. So today I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of it in to give it that garlicky taste, but not the digestive issues. I'm going to sprinkle some lovely sea salt and some black peppercorns. So now I'm just going to prepare some greens, some nice, beautiful, fresh greens. Now these greens here, this is rocket, and rocket is a natural digestive bitter, as is watercress as well. So I'm just going to mix a couple of bits of both, and I'm just going to tear them up into a bowl with my hands. So once you've drained your noodles, just tip them back into the pan, and this is going to become the mixing bowl for everything. So now I'm going to come back to the chicken, and you can see it's all lovely and cooked. Okay, just while we're resting that, get some basil. This is fresh basil. take a couple of spring onions, top and tail them. And then just score them all the way down the middle. And just tear them up like that as well. So we're going to put the base of our digestive aid onto the bottom of the plate like that. We're then going to sprinkle some spring onions around it. We're going to add a little bit of basil to the first bit of the dish. Then we're going to add a layer of noodles. These are our buckwheat noodles. They're gluten-free. And then we're going to top it with our lovely chicken, with the asafoetida spice, acting a little bit like garlic, and our lightly cooked onions in coconut oil. We're then going to sprinkle another layer of basil on top for total flavor, a little bit of sea salt, a twist of black pepper. So there you have it, your chicken and buckwheat noodles.
Thank you very much to Hannah there. So now it's time to head over to Sally Walford, and she's going to be showing us how to declutter and organise sheds and garages.
Hello everyone, my name is Sally Walford and I'm the declutter expert on the Chrissy B Show. And today I'm going to be talking about outdoor spaces and organising that garden shed. So let's start off with having a quick look at someone's garden shed. Here we have a typical small shed that, if you're lucky enough to have an outdoor space, is looking particularly cluttered. So one of my main things when you're deciding if you want a garden shed or what you want to use an outdoor space for, it's really important to start the decluttering or organising from a very early stage. What do you want that space to achieve? What do you want to put in that space? All of these things are really going to help you when you're organising from the start. So there's lots of ways of utilising the space that you have. Don't forget that you can also use the back of doors and also the sides of sheds. So we're not just utilising the shelves on their own. This is going to help you save space. So to show that, and I know that you've probably seen me use hooks before, but these are proper industrial hooks. They are great for hanging your power tools, lawn mowers, rakes, and making sure that you've picked the right hooks as well is really important, because it's going to hold the weight and make sure that none of your tools are going to fall off or get in the way of the door. So utilise hooks, and you can utilise these on the inside of your shed door. So again, we're going to be saving on space. Okay, so thinking outside of the box again, I wanted to show you this great picture of how you can utilise where to put your hoses or even cables that are perhaps tangling and getting up in the mess. So if you just have a look at this picture here, in this particular shed and garage, we actually decided to place the hose on the side of the shed. Actually made that more accessible for watering the plants, etc. So always again thinking, what else can be utilised? What other spaces can be utilised to save me on the inside space? Okay, I'm going to show you now another little top tip. This is going to show you. You might have one of these hanging around at home actually. These are for hanging net curtains. And again, really great to use in a shed environment. And I'm just going to pop on here. There we go, if you can just see that. I'm putting on all of the tapes that I might have lying around in the garage or in a shed, just getting in the way, getting in drawers. And again, here we are, we're going to be hanging those up and we're going to be utilising the space better. You could even possibly hang these above the door, and then you just drop one of the ends off, and it's easy access and then easy to pop them back up. So there you go. That's quite a good one for your little bits of tape there. Okay, So now I'm going to go back and I'd like to show you another exciting organisation job that I did. And this is showing you how you can utilise different spaces for different objects. So if we could go and have a look, you can see this fantastic shed actually is utilised for an art studio. And we created this space by using trunks, which we then put on wheels so that we could easily access all the materials that we put inside. And also, this particular lady as well liked to do quite a lot of glass work and stuff, so she had lots and lots of old bottles, and we utilised this space and used colour coding, which I absolutely love, in order for her to always recognise what she's got and how many of that particular bottle that she's got left and what she has to work with. I think we've got another photo to show you. So there you go. Again, this was the same shed, and this time was utilising all her products, and we wanted to make sure that she wasn't over-ordering. So again, making sure all of your things are organised is going to save you some pennies and stop you from overspending. And that even matters in a shed as well, in an outdoor space. Okay, so one of my main questions that I'm given from my clients is about tools, and these are quite tricky sometimes, because in toolboxes they tend to get all like cluttered and thrown in, and then people end up buying duplicates of things. So I just wanted to show you a really quick and easy and effective way of storing tools. So these particular paintbrushes that I've got have already got holes in them. However, you can also get plastic tops on the top of rakes and on the top of spades and things like that. And my top tip for this is quite easy. That these are definitely something you should have lying around in a shed, which are your cable ties. And these come in all different sizes. You can also get lots of different coloured ones. So for example, I've got this one, and it's going to make it easy for you to hook onto a nail or a hook, and you're going to be able to get access to that much easier. And again, we're utilising the sides of the sheds rather than throwing everything all onto a shelf or into a toolbox. So there you go. Hanging tools up is space saving. Okay, I'd like to show you now as well another job that I did, and this was great. This is about clearing and making sure that you have all of the same items in the same place. You can see this particular shed was used for storing of cleaning products, etc. And we've literally placed all the same items in the same place. And here we have on the bottom shelves, utilising for shoes, Wellingtons and buckets, all the things that you need access to on a daily basis. And we've got another one here just to show you. This again was quite an exciting project, obviously quite a large space, but this particular client had some old furniture which we then utilised in, so you can see this old dresser, we utilised that for a storage solution in an outdoor space. Okay, I'm going to go back now and show you some more of my top tips on how to space save inside your shed. These are fantastic. I don't know if any of you have seen these, but they're really, really cheap and they are reusable. And what we do is these can actually be used on twigs or on fencing or netting and things like that. When you need to tie something up quickly, not just for the twigs, but you literally just wind them round like that. There we go, and we've got them all together. Again, this is really great actually for netting and fencing because it doesn't tend to open up and flap, and you can easily pick them up and we can reuse them. So not only that, we're upcycling and recycling these on a constant basis. Okay, so the last thing that I would like to show you is these great things. There we go. Right, so these are fantastic for, particularly in sheds, but you can be utilised all over the home. And I wanted to show you a couple of different sizes. This is like a shed organizer. It's great for your tools, it's great for screws, all kinds of things. And this particular one is very good as we can alter the sizes of the compartments. So therefore we can have short ones where we can pop in. Pop that in. There we go. Pop that in. So you can have your nails and screws and fuses, etc. Those can all go in there. Or we can leave the space open, if you can see that, and we can place the tools in just like that. There you go. What a great space saving, and you can see what you've got all the time. These compartments as well also come in all kinds of sizes, and you might possibly have had one of these before for picture framing, something like that. So again, we're going to be upcycling and using that to put our little screws or ball plugs and that kind of thing. All great saving tips for your shed. So there you have it. There's my top tips, and back to you, Chrissy.
Thank you very much to Sally and actually to all my resident guests today. And I'd like to also say a special thank you to Lydia, our real life story as well. Such a powerful story that she has. You know, she's been through so much. And there's one key thing that I'd like to highlight from her experience, something that she said that I think is so important. One day, even though it felt like her world had fallen apart, one thing that she did, she made a decision. She made a decision to fight back and to actually try and change her life around, and she did manage that, and that is so important. When we go through something really bad, really traumatic, we also need to make a decision. Unfortunately, some people make the decision to give up, not to live anymore. They want to take their life, or they just want to do something that will actually harm them. And others make a decision to make a positive change. And you know what, it's not about what you feel necessarily. A decision doesn't have to be based on what you feel. You might feel like you don't have the strength, you might feel like you can't go on, you might feel like ending it all. But if you decide and you say to yourself, I am going to get through this, I'm going to find something to do to move me forward in life, you will find that something to keep moving forward if you decide to do so. Because you will see opportunities, you will grab things, you will look for things. So always make a decision, a positive decision to change your life, to do something even in the worst possible moments. Well, everyone, we have reached the end of today's program, but if you have a story that you would like to share, please do get in touch with us by emailing info@chrissybshow.tv. You can also tweet or Instagram us @ChrissyBShow, or leave a message on our Facebook page, The Chrissy B Show. And if you'd like to know more about my mental health journey, please do visit my personal website, which is mylifeafterdepression.com. Until next time, bye-bye for now.